Welcome back, guys, and we have a tutorial today on how to add mini faces to the VirtuaRed patch that we've been using on my Master League. So just to show you, VirtuaRed has a livecpk folder, and this is for PC, by the way, only on PC. They have a VRed underscore mini faces, and they have a regular folder for loading or creating CPK files. But in this case, the approach is super simple. All you need to load is a picture here. It has to be a DDS file, 128 by 128 with the right ID for the player. As you see here, they have thousands of mini faces, but all we need to do is to go in here and download it there. We don't need to do a DP list or create a CPK file at all. So let's get started. All right, of course, you like to source your images. I'm gonna give you a couple of examples here. I typed Pogba images 2022, and I got one of Pogba's pictures with a BC background. So I'll give you an example. So let's pull out a Haaland. I mistyped the last name. Is 2 A's and then 1 single A, but never mind. Let me look for a picture here that would be a good example for this video. Plenty of the yellow jersey Dartmouth here. Let me see down here. This looks like pretty good right here. Kind of more contemporary right now on Haaland. Okay. So in this case, I try to save it, and as you see here, it's going to come out as a web page. Obviously, we don't want that, but just want to give you an example that go to your snipping tool on your Windows accessories and basically make a snip of this picture right here. And then you're going to save that as a regular JPEG or PNG. So I'm going to save it here, and I'm just going to save it as a PNG in my downloads. Let me just give it a name. Let me type it again. Never mind. Okay, so we got a couple of pictures. So the next thing is that you need to get a tool. If you don't have Photoshop, you can get the paint.net tool, which is free and is super easy to use. Just follow to this particular web address, as you see here, getpaint.net, and the page should look like the one I'm showing you here. Okay, I think I've shown this before in another video, but this supports different operating systems, of course, Windows 10 all the way down to 7. And if you scroll down, there is a version that you need to pay under the Microsoft Store, or you can go on the version that is free, which is the one I'm using because it's free. And I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about this tool that will do the job very simply for what you need to do to create mini faces. So most of this video, you see here, you download it right there. Right now it's 4.3.10. I'm just going to put it in my downloads. I'm just showing you a couple of the steps to get to that. So most of the time we're going to spend in this video is really creating the file that we are going to use. And here's how the tool is going to look. But if you look under the downloads, there'll be the zip file. You still need to unzip it. I'm using 7-zip, and I'm creating the tool in a folder. Okay, so I'm not going to describe from there. I'm sure you guys can install it. All right, so now let's use that tool to prepare our DDS file. So here's the tool open, and I'm gonna open a couple of the files that we downloaded. All right, so this was one of the pictures. Let's pull that one that we did the snipping tool. And this is the one with Pogba. Okay, so as you can see, it keeps a bin of files at the top that you have already opened and you can work with at the same time. And I have another one that I pulled down from the web, and it's this one for Helen. And I'm trying to use them to give you different examples and the challenges you might find in processing the files. So this step-by-step tutorial, what it's trying to do is to give you hints on how to address the different type of files that you might find and how to be more efficient. So it's not a full tutorial on the tool, but just enough to create what we need to do here. Okay, so at the top here are actionables. See, these are, see the cropping there is grayed out. So you need to select one of these tools to apply something. Here I'm using the rectangle and I'm gonna mark its zone. Once I do that, I can go up and apply cropping. See, now it's okay, it's available. So I hit that and there it is. Immediately I cropped that. And that's how it keeps it at the top. You see that? So let's do the same thing for Pogba as a second example. So I'm just gonna grab the rectangle tool. I'm gonna mark out a good zone. You wanna make sure you simplify your picture first. Kind of focus on the portrait. And there it is. So now it's a lot easier to handle the two pictures. This one was already pretty zoomed in to the face. So those three we can handle now. So again, make sure that you cut it down to a simple step. Now I can use this wand, magic wand, which is very similar to Photoshop. And now you see up here, there is a tolerance. I'm using 50%, and that might be okay for this particular picture. This one is a really nice picture because it has a contrasting background that is very homogeneous, it's all black in the back. And his hair is blonde and all that. So when I click there, I'm able to select the entire zone, and I pretty much can hit delete and delete that entire, you know, black color, because we want a transparent background behind the player, right? So there it is, and you see, I mean, it's pretty ready. It's pretty much ready. When you have something like this, you find a picture like that, then it's a lot easier, but not all the time is that easy, okay? Now, let's select a different picture, and this time we're gonna pick out Pogba's, which has a lot of red, black in the background. His hair is pretty frizzy. It's got different shades. His skin is darker, so it might, you know, it might not be able to differentiate from the background. So let's see how this works. If I'm going to use the magic wand on this one, it's not going to be as efficient. I don't expect it to. See, it selected almost everything. Now, I can undo that here, and I can lower the tolerance. If you go to the left, and you can play with this tool until you see how it works. So you see, I'm able to select a little zone, but if I want to select more, that's not enough just for me to work with it. If I want to select more, I was able to delete that little zone. If I select more, still not quite enough. I think this is going to be a challenge. So no matter where I click. So I'm going to undo this whole thing, and I'm going to show you a different approach. All right. So we're going to do the manual prep. And by this, I mean, we're not using the magic wand, which was the simplest thing you can do. But I'm going to use the lasso. The lasso tool, basically, I need to keep dragging. You cannot lift. If you're using your mouse, and it's not as simple, you need to keep dragging. Don't worry. Once you change direction, it will keep collecting the line. And as you see here, you don't have to be perfect, guys. This is gonna get very small. And so I'm just gonna go around a little bit away. Don't have to be super perfect here. I think I want to show you what the simplest way will be to do this. You know, I'm going around, not trying to get too finicky because it's gonna be hard to go spot to spot. It'd be a long time doing that if I want to try to be perfect. So I'm gonna go around, and then let me cover the entire area back and there we are. Now we can delete the entire area we selected around Pogba, and then we'll fine tune it. So from this point, I can hit a delete, and it should remove this entire area that we picked up with the lasso tool. Again, don't lift, you need to keep the left mouse button clicked down so you keep dragging that line. All right. So once you're here, there's a couple of things you can do. You can do the erase, kind of clean up around him, and but it's kind of finicky. This is one of those pictures that you're gonna have to take more time, trust me. And here you can have different size of the brush width. I have it very thin, so I'm gonna make it thicker to cover more area. Let me put it at 10, and as you see, I can draw around here a little bit closer. So let's go like this and clean it up. I think this is fairly quick. And if you make a mistake, you can always undo. And by the way, here, yes, you can let go of the left button. Little by little, you can be doing this. And if you make an error, you took too much out of the face, you can do one undo back and fix it. So let me just go around the ear. See how I'm trying to clean it up. And I know, guys, some pictures you're gonna have to do this, unfortunately. But it is a free tool, and I think it's fairly easy to use. I think you will agree with me. So let me just clean out down here. I could have accelerated the video, but I wanted to show you a good example, how much time it takes. So I don't think this is taking too long. All right, now I made a mistake there, and I can do a back, see that? And then I can correct that. So that's the nice thing about this approach. I mean, you can still do all this cleaning up with the erase. The point is that we're trying to make sure that we clear the entire background and just leave the face to be used as a mini face. And continue down here, down the ear. And not to worry, because if I don't get it perfect, again, I can always, undo. Now, you saw I went closer, and now these little pieces on the outside are a lot easier to remove once you do that. So I'm gonna do it here around the hair. Don't have to be perfect. It's just basically, kind of the appearance of the spikes in the hair. And then I can clean out the outside. I don't think this is too much to ask, and not everything is going to be a one-step click and done. But it's such a simple tool, and it's better than Paintbrush or Paint for Windows, And we're almost done. So I'm just going around here, cleaning up a little bit. I could have used the magic wand to select a little bit of that and take it out, but I decided just to keep cleaning it and just leave it like that. And you'll see how I'm doing it. Just select the right size for the eraser. And let me go down here. See, I took a chunk there of the ear, so I'm gonna go back and fix it. And like I said, most of the video is about to preparing the image, but I think that's the most difficult part of the entire process. Okay, I think that's that's pretty decent. We can keep going on, and it's all up to you guys how you want to do this. But really, this is gonna be a very small picture, and you can hardly see that. All right. So I'm gonna use Select tool, and what do we do with these two portraits that we just cleaned up the background? Okay, so we need to create we need to put these guys in a 128 by 128. It has to be square. It has to be perfect. 128 by 128 pixels, okay? So go here, select File, say New, and here we're gonna put 128. Don't maintain the aspect ratio. Just do 128 here. I meant 128, no 126. 128 by 128 pixels. That's how the game wants it. We say okay, and you see this little square here. We're gonna select this guy. We're gonna say copy. We'll do this again. We'll do this again because I wanted to give you a couple of examples. And we're gonna say paste it. Now it's gonna say, wait a minute. The image you've been pasting is larger than the one it's going to. Expand the canvas? No. I want to keep the canvas size. I want to keep it 128 by 28. And because I selected the image here, I can drag it, you know, to make it smaller. Just make sure you don't leave any white. You see the checkers, the gray checkers need to be overlapping that canvas because it's applying the transparent mode. So just like that, and there you have it. It's fitting right in it. Now I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna say save as, and I'm gonna find my DDS file format. So let me just put here a name. Let's call it Hall 1. And instead of PNG, we want this guy to be a DDS. So you scroll down here and there is a direct draw surface. Guys, just select that one. No plugins necessary. There it is. And we should be good to go. Now say save. Now do not change the settings here. It works perfectly as it is. You know, DTX1, there's many options. Just leave it the way it is, guys. If you don't remember, you changed anything, come back here to the video and just copy this. Just like that. And when you say okay, you have your DDS file created. And what remains is to assign the right ID player number in order to put it in the folder within VirtuaRed. Now, I'm going to repeat the process here. So I'm going to take my picture, or I'm going to create a new canvas that is going to go 128 by 128. Now I'm going to say okay. Now I did this one in purposely. I selected 128 by 126. And I'm going to copy that guy into it. Keep canvas size. But I'm going to play dump here like I'm loading it, you know. But you see at the bottom, right at the bottom of the screen of the tool, it gives you the dimensions of the canvas. It says 128 by 126. And we know that is wrong. So I'm like, oh man, I screwed this one up. You can still go back from this. You don't even have to save it or anything. Just create a new file, okay? Just start over. I think it's, you know, I was gonna try to save this guy. And then I realized, you know, I'm gonna leave this example for the video because they need to realize that, you know, it's not the end of the world. And you're not gonna be able to fix that easily. So I'm saying, okay, and I saved that, but then it was 128 by 126, which is not what I want. Now, can I resize this? I did try to do that, and right here, you know, 126, I said, oh, this is not good. So I'm sorry if this is confusing you, hopefully not, because I want to give you an example of things that do happen. And even if you try to resize, it won't let you resize it the way you want it. Because it's gonna either do by percentage or by absolute size, and no, I cannot do it. So I'm gonna have to start. See that? Yeah. Even if I click the maintain aspect ratio, it didn't work for me. So I'm gonna have to restart this one. So guys, if you see that, and by the way, you can click on the upper right corner there and get back to. I'm just gonna delete that canvas because it was the wrong size. All right, so we're gonna do this again. So the best way, again, we're gonna go here without maintaining the aspect ratio 128 by 128 pixels. And make sure that is 128 by looking down here. That's a double check. And there you have it. And now we can bring this guy. We're gonna copy that, select, copy, select the canvas again, right click, and we're gonna say that we're gonna keep the canvas size and paste it there, and then drag it to a small size within the canvas. Hopefully that serves as a review. And you know, just get it to a, make sure that you're covering the whole canvas. And you can use the open left, right arrows to fine tune the position of the image. Now I'm gonna save this guy again as a DDS file. Let's give it a name. We're gonna save it. I'm gonna replace it. Yes, I'm gonna replace the other one that I created. I'm not gonna change any of these settings. And there we go. Okay, so we created two of the files for you as an example. Now I did have this one that we could have done, and it would have gone through the complicated manual process because you saw the background that it had. All right, now I'm gonna close this, and I am gonna go to pesmaster.com and find the player IDs. You need to know the player IDs, and that's how you're gonna rename the files. So one thing that I want to make sure is that, you know, this, you see that it's in the downloads here. You see there's no background. They're transparent. So Pogba and Helen are there. We're just gonna change the number just like I have there, Keylor Navas, with a number. That's the ID number. All right, so let's go to PES Master, and we want to go to PES 2021, and then find the list of players. Let me increase the size of this window. Okay, let's scroll down. All PES 2021 players. So here is the scoop. All right, I did this when I type Pogba. Look at how many Pogba there are. And for many of the popular players, you're gonna find a number of cards that they have in the game. Many of the common players will just have one. Now, here's the dilemma. When you click on one, you see this number at the end of the string at the top? That number is way too long. That doesn't belong in the game for the minifaces. Okay, this is just for an ID for the card. And if you could go and scrolling down, those, see that number is still too long. I'm gonna close that and do one more, and you see the number is very long. I don't like those numbers. So one of these guys gotta be the one that has the right ID we want. I did want to show you that because I haven't seen that anywhere explained by anybody. So if you go here to the folder that we want to use in VirtuaRed, the longest number, yeah, there's a couple, only a handful. Actually, there's only about 4 that have very long numbers. Most of the numbers will have 7 or 6 or 5. Really, most of them have 5 or 6. And as you see here, very few at the bottom had the long numbers. Okay? So we want to find the face that associated with a shorted number. And you can write them down. This number is not too bad. It has 7 digits. So I'm going to write it down just in case this is the one that the game is using or the patch is using. Okay. Now let me scroll one more down. This last guy here. And bingo, this one is 5 digits, 45023. I'm gonna write that number down because I believe that's gonna be the number that the game patch and the game is using for the actual mini face in the game. All right, let's confirm that. I'm gonna go, because the numbers are in numerical order here. Remember, this is within the CIDR, within the livecpk folder. There's the VirtuaRed Minifaces folder, and you can open until you get to this spot where you have all the actual Minifaces sizes. So you see, it's in numerical order. So I'm gonna keep scrolling up. I mean, there are just thousands of these guys. And I'm gonna see if I can find that 5-digit number for Pogba, because I think it's the one. I went too far. Let me go back a little bit more. A little bit more, and look at this. There it is, 45023. That is the mini face. That is the ID I want. None of the other ones. That is the ID I want, guys, because that's the one we're gonna replace. All right. So now that we know that, I wanted to show you that no one has shown this anywhere. So I'm gonna take my picture and I'm gonna rename it with that number. So I'm gonna put here 45023, and we're gonna do the example with just this one. So there we have it. It's a DDS file, 128 by 128, and we're gonna right click here. This is so simple to do. No CPK file generation, no DP file list, redo, nothing. And I'm gonna just find an empty space here, paste it here, and it's gonna ask me to replace it. You know, we could have saved a backup, but there it is. And you're replacing the guy right here. And now what we do is we're gonna go and check. So once you have your picture, which is most of the video, all you need to do is to find the ID, the right ID. And I gave you a couple of hints on how to find the right one, and you're gonna check your work. So I'm in the game now, teams. I'm gonna look at the game plan. Manchester United, let's go to the game plan and see if Pogba is there. And check it out. Pogba's mini face has been updated. So this is the one we added. And you can see, you know, all the little leftovers that we left around his head they don't really show. I mean, it's such a small image. Now, I wanted to give you one final tip on working with the complex pictures. You know, like we said, you know, we're gonna select that square tool to minimize the area we need to work with, and then crop it. Now, you see at the bottom here, you can increase the size. And not that big. Whoa, 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 whoa. Anyways, to a size that you can go around it. Okay, so it's a lot bigger here, and now I can use the lasso, and it's a little bit easier to navigate around the face and clean it up. So I'm gonna keep going around the face, boom, boom, boom. I don't need to be that perfect. Going around, I'm going outside the box here because I'm selecting everything. I'm gonna come around his body now. As you see, I'm gonna go like this, and then we'll do a cleanup. So there we have it. Now we can delete this whole area, and then I can even use the wand because I got a good contrast and take these chunks out. If I need to reduce here the tolerance, I can do that. And as you see, it's doing a very good job. And that's probably all I'm gonna have to do. There. And I don't think I need to do a whole lot around here, but let me do. But that's all, guys. That's all you have to do. I hope this is helpful for you guys, and let me know if you have any questions. Very simple to add very simple to add to VirtuaRed Patch. More to come, guys. Until the next one.